Someone once commented on my video saying the reality is that there is not enough money to eat, not to mention save and invest. And I said, I understand. The growing gap between the cost of living and stagnant wages or salary is a serious problem for millions of people around the world. It is not a personal issue or a country issue or a national issue. It's part of a bigger problem that affects families across the world. People's earnings are no longer enough to meet their basic needs. The question is, should we then not do anything about it? I remember a quote I picked up while listening to Mel Robbins' podcast. She says, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. What is keeping us from financial success sometimes are 1, our mindset, 2, the things we continuously tell ourselves. Today, I would share with you 7 things you must avoid if you're serious about building lasting wealth. Some of this might surprise you. And if you're already doing even one of these things, it could be sabotaging your entire financial future. So let's get into it. The first one, avoid surrounding yourself with negative influences. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I'm sure you've heard that before. It is real. Think about this. If the people around you continue to moan about the problem and not in any way suggesting a solution or what can be done better, you need to change that circle. If they don't value saving or investing or planning, it's going to be harder for you to stick to your goals. Seek out people who inspire you to do better, even if it is in a small way. People will push you to level up. People will tell you, I know it's hard, but we can do it. Those connections can be real game changers. Not people who would continue to say, oh, no, it's not possible, it's hard. And this is why I have a community of working professionals who are dedicated to growing their finances and building wealth. I'll put the link in the description box. Feel free to check us out. The second one, avoid spending more than you earn. This is critical. In these times of rising costs and flat salaries, living below your means might be the most powerful financial strategy you can adopt. I know you're used to a certain lifestyle. You might need to adjust now, because this will allow you to weather the storm of inflation while simultaneously building the financial stability needed to thrive in the future. No matter how difficult it is, keep something for the future. Please. Please. To build wealth, especially in an environment where financial pressure is mounting, you need to start with a strong foundation. Live below your means. And this doesn't mean depriving yourself of the things you enjoy, but it does mean being intentional with your spending. Prioritize what truly matters and cut back on those things that don't serve your long-term financial goals. Every penny you save at this point or you avoid spending is a penny that can be put to work for your future. Let's put it that way. Whether it is an investment or building an emergency saving or growing your savings, it doesn't matter. It is contributing to something. It doesn't matter how small it is. The third one, avoid unnecessary debt. Debt is like quicksand for your finances. It can pull you in slowly, but once you're in, it is incredibly difficult to get out. Now, I should add, not all debt is bad. Debts that help you invest in your future can be smart and necessary. So there is a difference between productive debt and unnecessary debt. Personal loans for things you don't really need. Those are the type of debts that dig into your potential wealth. When the cost of living is skyrocketing and salaries aren't rising at the same pace, it can be tempting to rely on credits, to rely on loans, just to get by. But every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that could have been working for you, whether it is growing in your savings or being invested in assets, of course, assets that appreciate over time, or building a strong financial cushion for the future. I always say interest is the silent thief of wealth. It takes away from your ability to build financial security and freedom. And I understand completely that it can feel like the only way to keep your head above water now. Let me just take on more debt because I need this, I need that. But it's better to live within your means and take a longer view so that you can avoid this trap of having to rely on high interest debt to fund your expenses. Focus on prioritizing your spending and cutting back on the non-essential purchases. If you want to build wealth, you have to get intentional about how you use debt. There is no two-way around this one. You should never let it control you. And then the next one, avoid skipping financial education. Let's be real. No one is born with financial knowledge. We all have to learn. And for many of us, that journey starts later in life. But here's the thing. If you're not actively learning about money, you're losing out. In an era where salaries are stagnant and the cost of living is rising, understanding how money works is more critical than ever. Wealthy people make a habit of learning, whether it is reading books or taking courses or following financial content online. They don't wait for the perfect moment, because there is no perfect moment, to be honest. You have to get financially savvy. A friend of mine will say, I don't like math. Math is not money. You have to learn about money. It is very important. Knowledge is power, especially in a world where economic challenges are rising. So you don't continue to think that there is nothing you can do. You have to find out, what else can I do? In this situation, what else can I do? Even if it is just learning how to budget or learning how to invest, you have to understand how the economy works. Learn how to save smartly, how to invest smartly, how to adapt to financial shifts like high interest rate, inflation. When you equip yourself with this knowledge, you make informed choices that keep you ahead, even in this tough financial time. And then the next one, you have to avoid procrastination.
Why you keep on saying tomorrow?
Because tomorrow is when it's going to happen.
Tomorrow.
I'll get to it later. I'll do it later. I'll invest later. We've all been there, putting off that investment account, delaying setting up a budget, promising ourselves that we will deal with our finances later when things calm down. The truth is, when it comes to wealth building, time is your greatest asset. Every day that goes by without you taking action is a day you could have used to make your money work harder for you. If your salary is not growing and the cost of living is rising, it might feel like you're constantly playing catch up. And it's easy to say, I'll focus on it once my salary increases. Oh, I'll start investing when I can afford it. Oh, like my brother would joke. And I'll say this in Yoruba. Timba Jemkano. I'll start investing, meaning that it is when he is full. That's when he'll start investing. But the earlier you start saving, investing, the more your money compounds over time. Even if you're only able to set aside, say, a small amount every month, that money has the potential to grow exponentially in the future. You might think, oh, it won't make a difference. It's just, what's 50 pounds? It's just, 50,000 naira. It's not a lot. It won't matter. But here's the thing. Every little bit counts and time is on your side, especially if you start early. The beauty of compounding returns is that they don't require a huge amount of money to begin with. Small, consistent actions. Like opening that investment account today, setting up automatic saving, automatic investments, or even just simply tracking your expenses. All these habits can add up over time, and what seems insignificant can then turn into something substantial in the future, especially if you stay consistent. So avoid procrastination. It's a dangerous trap when you're trying to build wealth. The longer you wait to take control of your finances, the harder it will be to reach your goals. There would always be distractions anyways. Costs will always rise. Wages may not always keep up. But your wealth building potential increases the sooner you get started. And then the next one, avoid not having a clear goal. The truth is, without a financial goal, you're just drifting. You're driving without a map or a destination. And you're not sure where you're going. And if you're not sure where you're going, you will not even get there efficiently. You might even take longer driving to get to that place, because you don't even know where you're going anyways. So whatever your financial goal is, whether it is to retire early, build wealth, it is important that it is very clear. For example, I set for myself to have £100,000 in investment. Big goal. I'm nowhere close, but I know what I am working towards. So you have to define what your goal is. When you don't have a clear goal, it's easy to get lost in the day-to-day hustle of dealing with rising costs, stagnant wages, and all those things. And before you know it, years have passed without any significant progress. So have a clear goal. It doesn't even matter if it is big, massive, just make sure you have a place to go into. Whether it is to have a property, whether it is to have whatever the goal is, you have to define it. And then because you have defined it, you start asking the right questions, you start leading to the right place, because that's where your head is, basically. I always say you can't hit a target if you don't know where you're aiming. And without goals, it's easy to get sidetracked by short-term temptations or feeling stuck in a cycle of financial survival. Let's not be in that zone where it's all about survival for us. Yes, we want to survive, but we also want to grow our finances. And the next one, you have to avoid living without an emergency fund. I say this a lot. I think there is hardly a video I would make that I won't mention emergency fund, because I know it is very, very important. Not having an emergency fund is like building a house without a foundation. You can have the best plans, the most luxurious furniture, the best decor, but if the foundation is not strong, the house can collapse at any time. In the same way, life will inevitably throw curveballs your way. Whether it is a sudden job loss or unexpected medical bills or surprise expenses like car repair or home maintenance, things that you never planned for. Without an emergency fund, you would always find yourself scrambling for money, potentially relying on either loan, credit card, and this can quickly snowball into big debts. So what I like to advise is that you build your emergency savings. You can start from even 1 month and then work towards building 3 months, 6 months, ultimately a year. It gives you security and peace of mind, knowing that if the unexpected happens, you won't have to go into debt to survive. So these are the 7 things that could quietly be holding you back from building real wealth. So you have to avoid them, and then you'll start seeing a shift in your financial life. Remember, building wealth isn't just about what you do, it's also about what to choose not to do. So you have to be very intentional about growing your finances and then building wealth. If you have found this video helpful, you would also like my video on my payday routine, how I avoid living paycheck to paycheck. So I'll see you in the next video.